Aliens, sentient life, call it what you want, they could exist at millions of light years outside of the range of our civilization. With a universe as big as ours, we certainly can't be the only one living in it. Scientists are responsible for finding out who or what else is out there waiting for us. There have been several attempts so far at exploring the width of our solar system. Scientists are also meddling with the fact that there might be a living force much greater on some planet far outside the reach of our solar system. And guess what? Following several attempts by scientists, they have finally made headway when they announced that alien life forms could actually be out there. We sent them a message, and they responded. The question now is, what language do they speak? What message did these scientists send into the cosmos? What was the reply that we got? Join us as we explore what scientists just announced after sending a message into the cosmos and the reply they received. Why are we so intent on discovering alien civilization? This is not fiction, but we want to know if there is something to worry about. Will they be friends or foe? What secrets will they teach us to advance our healthcare and technology? These have remained questions for as long as we can remember. We cannot yet travel too far in space, but what we can do is send a message into the vast cosmos and wait to see what comes back. So many scientists have given up on the idea of extraterrestrial creatures because it seems surreal that there could be any other intelligent civilization capable of communication. Yes, the skepticism is real even when it's plausible that we might not be the only ones in the universe. The constraints are too heavy on the continued search for extraterrestrial life. The entire field is suffering from a lack of information. Some say if there will ever be contact between us and some alien civilization, it would probably be more than 1,000 years from now, and we are not even certain whether they will come to us or we will be the ones to go to them. If there is any breakthrough in interstellar travel, we could probably be the aliens on their planet. For now, we cannot get past the question of whether there is life beyond Earth that can maybe hear us someday. First, the concept of communication has been debated. We lack the right technology to send enough messages that will excite any form of life to come gliding through our atmosphere. There is also the problem of the limitation imposed by space and time. There is zero gravity in space except the one produced by the sun at the system's center, so everything moves at an incredibly slow speed. There is hardly any torsion to aid the transfer of radio waves, and there is too much of a vacuum for any wave to make a real impact for long in space. So before any intelligent civilization receives any message from us on their distant planet, they would probably be already dead, and we would be no more, with the next generations having to deal with the aliens we sent a message probably 1,000 years ago. The logic makes sense given how long it took us to find Mars, and it seemed like it used to host life but not anymore. So a whole level of impossibility to contend with here has delayed our pursuit of knowledge about our spatial neighbors if they are real. We saw in a recent study by 2 Harvard astrologers who tried to provide answers to this question. They used what is known as the Copernican principle to propound their own theory. In physical cosmology, the Copernican principle states that humans on the Earth or in the solar system are not privileged observers of the universe, that observations from the Earth are representative of observations from the average position in the universe. So as we gaze out into the universe from our position, other civilizations are so positioned that they can look for us too. But the fact is that the proximity is low, and we are not necessarily aligned with them. So the theory suggests that if we send a message to an extraterrestrial technological civilization, it will take more than 3,000 years for us to get a reply. There have been close calls in recent years where we have observed certain interstellar objects have flown past Earth, while some alien unidentified flying objects have been sighted even here on Earth. The Oumuamua flew past Earth in 2017, and it could as well have been an extraterrestrial light sail. A light sail is also known as a solar sail. It is a method in which spacecraft propel themselves using radiation pressure generated by sunlight through large reflective structures. Humans have tested solar propulsion in some missions in the past, therefore its effectiveness has been vouched for. It makes sense that the light sail seen could belong to a spaceship. A researcher named Professor Loeb published a book titled Extraterrestrial: The First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth. He took part in projects that involved black holes and meteors and the study of interstellar objects like UFOs and Oumuamua. Loeb and another researcher, Siraj, looked to investigate the search for extraterrestrial responding intelligence. They studied a sporadic set of signals sent off from Earth into space that extraterrestrial intelligence can pass off as technological activity on our planet. If the signal is strong enough and it reaches them in a symbolic language they can understand. Therefore, we understand the question posed as to whether there is a chance for us to hear a message from extraterrestrials. The calculations must show a specific response time. It will aid the search and help us anticipate the implication of a return signal. In another study, the search scale for alien life hasn't changed much beyond listening for complex signals, and so far, the Breakthrough Listen project has checked out over 1,000 star systems that exist within 160 light-years from the Earth's orbit. Dominique, the lead researcher, stated, "The project has its eye on scanning 300 billion stars in the Milky Way alone while searching for life in the cosmos. There is always the hope of quintillions of civilizations thriving like ours in the universe. They are so far away we cannot hear anything." Dr. John Elliott, a reader in intelligence engineering at Leeds Beckett University, said, "The global SETI community would announce any bona fide alien signal immediately. But in an era of social media, that would spark a flood of fake news and conspiracy theories that leave people utterly confused about the truth. How would we know if something is out there to return a signal? Scientists debate that it could be difficult unless the extraterrestrials also look for other life forms in the galaxy. But if they are as advanced as we think they may be doing just that. So it becomes a question of who finds who first. A response will end our search for another habitable planet like Earth. Their civilization might be as old as mankind with their own developing radio communication and their planet with only a few billion years of existence. But finding that one planet among more than 10 million is nearly impossible. If all stars host life, we can expect many responses. We have been sending radio signals to space for over a century, albeit while thinking little of what consequences could come with it. What kind of tidings will they have towards us? What if they have already heard from us and are looking for ways to start a conversation with us? Could they be building some powerful electromagnetic signal emitter to reach out to us? Do we have a signal detector capable of interpreting alien lingo? We could be the first to see them if they venture to travel towards us. We've got a set of powerful telescopes like NASA's Hubble Space Telescope tracing the paths of orbital objects as they travel through space. It could be programmed to detect EM radiation, gamma rays, X-rays, microwave lasers, and so forth, or any form of energy source that the aliens can use to power their technology. The telescope cut short the expectancy period for transmission from another civilization since it can cope with the major constraint to the signals, which is the speed of light. So we can never truly be caught unawares. We should be able to get any information in the 21st century from the nearest civilization to us. Another possibility is for the civilization to choose to explore our planet in several flybys instead of merely sending a message for us to decode. If we cannot get close enough to them, they should be able to come to us. Our own missions, such as the robotic Voyager 1 and 2 missions, will likely enter into orbital space in the future. Other missions that could pay off include the Pioneer 10 and 11 spacecraft and the New Horizons. The aliens could first interact with these bots, which will relate signals to Earth, taking snapshots of anything within their vision. Whatever happens from there will determine if we are engaging with hostiles or a couple of friendly neighbors. The robots will probably take 1,000,000 years to reach another star system remotely closer to Earth. But then it will take hundreds of thousands of years before the message reaches us if the aliens send a probe to Earth. Then physical contact could be possible. That was one side of the argument on the pursuit of extraterrestrial interaction. And while we talk about messages sent into the vastness of space, what are we trying to say? Are we calling them to come by for brunch sometime? Scientists devised a way to send messages into space in a coded language known as Arecibo. The message is a radio message designed for interstellar travel. The message doesn't exactly contain any mystery, except the major information that humanity will, like any other external life forms, need to know about the Earth and all it has. In the first instance, the message was sent out in 1974 as proof of how far humans have developed instead of the glorified way to talk to extraterrestrials. It was not particularly a language of alphabets, but an image of low resolutions and its grubby elements that could probably not be understood by the recipients of the message. Where did they first send the Arecibo message? It was aimed at a globular cluster called M13. Due to its relative distance and the speed of light at which the message is traveling, scientists have deduced that the message will reach M13 in 25,000 years. So although it has been close to 50 years since the message was sent, it has barely exited from our solar system, not to mention reaching the core of M13. But that is if we take the playful show-off of the technology's primary test seriously. By the time the Arecibo reached there, the center of cluster M13 might have drifted off of that position. The cluster is in slow motion, so the message is expected to arrive near its center. What is the content of the Arecibo message? The message can be split into 7 unique parts. Part 1, it comprises the alphanumeric from 1 to 10, color-coded in white. Part 2, it has the atomic number of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus etched into it to look like the structure of the DNA molecule, color-coded in purple. Part 3, it also contains the formulas of the several nucleotide compounds of the DNA in the color green. The 4th part contains the number of nucleotides in the human genome with a double helix structure of DNA, both colored white and blue. Part 5 also has a physical dimension of the average man painted red and the human population indicated by the white color. Our sun was indicated in yellow to show which planet the message is coming from in the solar system in the 6th. The final part shows an image of the Arecibo radio telescope and the dimension of the antenna dish in purple, white, and blue colors. The message was encoded in a bunch of 1s and 2s up to 1,670 digits and only about 210 bytes. The first Arecibo was sent at a frequency of 2,380 MHz, and the modulation was at 10 Hz with a power of 450 kilowatts. Each binary nominal vibrated at 10 bits per second, and the broadcast barely exceeded 3 minutes. The total number of digits resulted from 2 prime numbers with an arrangement of 73 by 23 rows and columns respectively. An inverse arrangement of the arrangement did not make sense with weirdly unintelligible characters. When the message is translated properly into graphics, characters, and spaces, the 1,679 bits of data within the message are quite easy to understand. And yes, the playful endeavor yielded a form of response. In 1977, 3 years after the Arecibo signal was sent without any expectation of a return, the Big Ear radio telescope of the Ohio University in the US detected a massive radio signal coming from somewhere not too far from us. The research institute was part of the concerted efforts to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Where was it coming from? The signal seemed to be from the Sagittarius constellation, which NASA had observed for a while. This was the first likely contact that gave us the hope that there could be extraterrestrials. It became an anomaly on the charts to the astronomer who was going through data recorded by the telescopes. The message was aptly called the wow signal. No, the aliens did not just say wow. When Jerry was observing the data on the intensity of this signal, he wrote the wow comment for lack of words to express his excitement. This would become the name used widely by scientists to describe the event, and the signal only lasted 72 seconds. The Big Ear radio telescope could not observe it afterwards, despite the efforts of the researchers at the institute. Then the hypothesis began to roll in about where the emission originated. Was it from a natural or a man-made source? There was no definite explanation for it, and it had no modulation to tell us if it had an intelligible interpretation over the radio waves. Emin and his team could not draw a major conclusion on its source, and 45 years later, their names is still in the mention for what could have been a groundbreaking discovery. It is still one of the possible signs of extraterrestrial communication we have received. Let us imagine we receive a kick-ass message from the cosmos and we know about our neighbors. How should we respond to whatever message they send to us? Scientists are not so sure of how to handle interaction with aliens. It is a delicate issue, the idea of how to respond if an alien civilization reaches out to us. A survey by members of the United Kingdom's Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence evaluated the public's attitude to the possibility of alien contact. They wanted to know how people wanted them to respond if we made contact. They deployed the data to make plans for an international protocol to operate when any organization detects any signal. How will the news be dispensed to all nations, and how do we make sense of them? Should we even send a reply at all? There is yet to be an international law discussing how the world will respond to alien signals. It is important to make such decisions public, as the consequences of any interaction will affect not just the scientists but the people too. When the signal does hit, it will likely be too complex to understand if it came from an advanced civilization with a complex language. Understanding the alien code could take months, and that is if it can be broken down. The signal could easily be just a random EM noise produced by some equipment. It could also be some terrestrial leak not meant for our ears. Unlike the Rosetta Stone, an old Egyptian stone that acted like a manual for understanding Egyptian hieroglyphs, the signal might not come with an instruction manual, and there could be no decipherment crib as well. The signal could translate to an unintelligible image of junk code. Should there be no progress on the research, everything will fade into speculation once again, just like the WOW signal. There will only be conjecture and rumors, and all hope will be lost again. There is a need for reliable information on attending to an emergency interstellar missive. Maybe some civilization needs help from us, or we would need help. We could as well listen to the advice of the late Stephen Hawking. He warned us not to attempt to alert alien civilizations about our existence out of fear of the chaos that could ensue. Others in the body of science do not agree. Later this year, an organization called Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence International, METI, plans to beam signals into space containing references to the periodic table of elements. They will be the second Arecibo message to be sent out since the first that occurred in 1974. Many people in this era do not even understand the significance of their message and would be surprised that we want to try it out now. Given how baffling the message will be to many humans in the 21st century, it is unclear what any recipient will infer from it. And NASA hasn't stopped poking into the soil of Mars with its rovers for any sign of life, and the latest discovery shows the presence of methane. Sure, if any life form still exists on Mars, they will find the rover trespassing, and as wonderful as the discovery will be for us, it opens up the window of conflict with our neighbors. Any chance of a peaceful first contact can be scrubbed off the list. Without that, Mars remained the only planet that could still host human life despite its mildly unfriendly atmosphere and the parched landscape where there seems to be no trace of water. It looks like a wasteland that used to overflow with water. But as research intensifies, maybe we will find something soon enough. It will be a great win for mankind to find another home or meet up with aliens in the galaxy. That day would, of course, be a great time to be alive. Let us know what you think in the comment section below.